I am pleased to be here today to discuss GAO's examination of the Coast Guard's modernization efforts. For fiscal year 2026, Congress appropriated about $13.5 billion to the service. Congress also included nearly $25 billion in the One Big Beautiful Bill Act in fiscal year 2025. This was the largest single commitment of funding in Coast Guard history. This funding was for Coast Guard procurement of cutters and aircraft and modernizing shore infrastructure and maritime surveillance systems. The service said these investments support the intent of force design, initiatives that include developing and increasing remote and autonomous systems and maritime domain awareness capabilities. It could also strengthen the Coast Guard's ability to counter drug trafficking, conduct search and rescue, and manage other missions. Given the historical amount of funding provided to the service, GAO has questions about what the Coast Guard has learned from prior recent reforms and if it is applying those lessons learned as it implements force design. Since 2019, we assessed 4 Coast Guard reform efforts. 1, addressing sexual misconduct. 2, modernization of mission planning and mission support functions. The 3rd was reorganization of its reserve component. And 4th, reorganization of its deployable specialized forces. Key gaps in Coast Guard's reform efforts that we consistently identified include issues like, what was the service trying to achieve and how would it know if it reached the goal? Second, what process and related information was used to develop these reforms? Third, what practices did the service put in place to ensure sustained leadership focus during implementation and sustained tracking of progress throughout the implementation phase? We found some similar gaps when we reviewed Coast Guard's force design. We found that the key documents related to force design need to be updated so that it is clear how the reform is aligned with the Coast Guard's missions and desired outcomes, and that it includes measurable targets for each emphasis related to organization, people, technology, and contracting and acquisition. The service also needs to develop an evaluation plan that includes mechanisms for assessing the effectiveness of reform actions, clarify for yourself and decision makers what success looks like, and how will the service know when it gets there. We are making 2 recommendations today to the Coast Guard to address these gaps. We look forward to working with the Coast Guard as it continues to move forward with its efforts to transform the service into a more capable and agile force that meets current and future challenges. Thank you for inviting us today.